The Journal of Coven Cole, Day 6 since the fall of Laurentia. The world fractures and Laurentia lies in ruin, swallowed by flame and shadow, and from its ashes the shadow deep has bled into our realm like poison into a wound. In less than a week, madness has taken root. The border churns with whispers of robed figures and beasts not born of nature, each report more dire than the last. The kingdom scrambles, soldiers, rangers, even farmers with pitchforks, pressed into service. But it is not enough. We are spread thin like oil on water, and the darkness knows it. These 3 days passed. Aventine, an old hand, steady and sharp, set out to investigate a village under siege. He has not returned. That silence weighs heavier than any storm. I will not let it stand. I've gathered what allies I could, those still willing to walk into the unknown. We march now, 8 hours through broken terrain toward the village, toward whatever waits. The wind carries a scent I do not trust. The trees seem to lean closer. The deep is watching. If this be my last entry, let it be known I went not for glory, but for a brother lost in the dark. Coven Cole. Day 7. The deserted village. We reached the edge of the nameless village just before dusk. The silence was wrong. No birds, no livestock, no distant hammering or laughter. Just the wind whispering through the trees like a warning. I had Bluto padded ahead. Nose low, tail stiff. He's never wrong about danger. Maya walked beside me, her sword sheathed, eyes scanning the ruins for symbols, patterns, anything that might explain what befell this place. Whilst no warrior, her knowledge of runes and lore runs deeper than most libraries. If the deep left a mark, she'll find it. Draka the savage trudged behind, axe slung over one shoulder. "This bad place," he grunted. That's more than usual. Crass wheezed as he kept pace, armour clinking, belly bouncing, but he's solid where it counts. Lord Castle muttered prayers under his breath, his grip on his warhammer white-knuckled. Faith and fury was in him. And finally Dylan, the town's crossbow champion, scanned the rooftops, his prize weapon loaded and ready. He's quiet, but his bolts speak loudly. We entered the village centre. Bodies lay scattered like discarded dolls. The stench of death hung thick. I gave the signal to split and search for Aventine. Then the moaning began, low, wet, all around us. Bluto growled, Maya froze, her eyes going wide as she whispered a rune of warding. Draka raised his axe whilst Crass cursed under his breath. Castle shouted a prayer in defiance, and Dylan raised his crossbow. I drew still and gave my own vow. The dead do not rest here. The village sat still yet not peaceful. Bluto and I were the first to move. A bundle near the well caught my eye, too carefully placed to be debris. Inside, a vial of green liquid shimmered like swamp light. No label, no scent, but I took it for later. Bluto growled low, then lunged, tearing into a giant rat that had crept too close. Its squeal was short-lived. Another rat burst from the shadows, barreling into Maya. She barely had time to react before Draka's axe came down like a falling star, splitting the beast in two. "Dead now," he grunted before moving off, and then we saw them. Shapes in the gloom, shambling, rotting, the dead had come, making their slow march towards us. I sent Castle, Crass and Maya to search for clues whilst we still had time. Bluto and I pressed deeper into the village and met our first walking corpse, who was hiding in a nook under an old cart. Despite being caught off guard, Bluto and I went to quick work. Our blade and fang worked in tandem. Dylan tried to fire at a zombie, but the murky darkness fouled his aim. Maya held her own against another, parrying with her blade, while Draka became a blur of motion, his axe cleaving a skull clean from its shoulders. And then Castle found him. Aventine, slumped beneath an aged fence post, his eyes open to the sky, though nothing shined in them. Castle knelt, whispered a prayer, and drew a gleaming blade from the fallen ranger's coat. "I will use this," he said, "to avenge you." Crass smashed through a door like it was paper. He emerged moments later with an orange-filled phial, grinning like a man who'd found a pie. Then came more rats. Crass skewered one with his spear whilst Castle wrestled another to the ground and ended it with a roar. Delan finally found his mark, sinking a bolt into a zombie's eye. And Draka kept swinging, relentless, a whirling dervish of violence. And then I heard it. A groan. Close by, Bluto darted into the dark, a snarl and then a yelp, and then finally silence. I ran and found him on the ground, flinching with blood on his flank. The zombie loomed. "Delan!" I shouted. He didn't hesitate. One bolt, one kill, and the thing dropped. Castle finished the last rat. Draka felled the final corpse. Maya, ever watchful, studied strange tracks in the dirt. Her eyes narrowed. "These weren't made by the dead," she said. Whilst tending to Bluto's wounds, I was watching Dylan, who I saw was broken. The fear had caught him at last. He dropped to the ground, hugging his knees, eyes wide. With Bluto weakly panting by a wall, I smashed open the last locked house inside. Treasure, trinkets, maybe clues. I'll sort through the loot later. I looked over the remnants of the battle site. The village is spent. The dead are down. Avatine is gone, but we have pieces of the puzzle now. Time to return to camp.